My name is Pat Mullen. I am Director of Church's Ministry of Healing the Mount. I'm delighted to have with me today Maurice, who has agreed to come and tell his story of healing.
Yeah.
Now, Maurice, how did you end up in hospital in the first place?
I had a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder from a shooting. I was in a car in Ormo Road in 1994. My two friends were shot dead by a professional IRA outlet. Post-traumatic stress disorder, which was, I used drink for to black my mind out from it. And so I only started drinking when I was about 40. And a few years later, got a lot of severe pain in my lower stomach. And I lay on the sofa for a while and I asked my young son to bring me in a basin, so he put me in a basin out of the sink. And as I sat up, started to vomit, but it was blood I was vomiting, thick blood. I half filled that basin full of blood. My wife phoned an ambulance. I was taken into a royal resource. So it was, the ambulance just told me when a few seconds, Maurice, you're being put under, and just seen the syringe being pushed, and that was me. I woke up in the Mater Hospital, had pancreatitis, got most of my pancreas removed, my gallbladder removed, and then from there I was put in the induced coma again. So I was for second time. I had sepsis 3 times, woke up with nerve damage in my feet. Still didn't know where I was, how long I was in hospital, what had gone wrong with me. Still didn't know because I was in and out of induced coma. And then the doctors came and seen me. Had a trachea in my neck. I was on a ventilator for six months. Had to learn to chew again, drink water again. Didn't get fed for 6 months. Lost 7 stone. My body actually ate itself. And there was this night, seen the nurses. There was a few nurses that were crying. The doctors, when they were very worried, looking at like the whole of intensive care were around my bed staring at me because I was at the reception bit because I was there that long. And I was lying there and I was saying to myself, what's everybody crying for? And next minute I see my mum, my sister and my nephew and all coming in. I fell just ready to fall asleep because I didn't know what was actually happening. And my Uncle Hugh came in and he put his hand on my head and said, "Can I pray for you? Hear me, yeah." And he started talking a strange language I never heard before, which I found out was tongues he was talking in, prayed for me. But as soon as he put his hand on my head, I felt everything was going to be alright anyway. And the next morning, I woke up and I seen all the nurses coming back into the room with the doctors, and they're all smiles, happy over hugging me. And here's me, what's this about now? They were crying last night and they're all happy now hugging me. Well, I didn't know that I was given 2 hours to live. The day before that, my Uncle Hugh came up, done that with his hand on my head and prayed for me. And from that day onwards, I've experienced no fear for nothing. I had got sepsis again after that. And my Uncle Hugh told me about the church and started believing. I always believed in Jesus anyway since I was a young child, but never prayed to him or nothing like that. And just made me feel secure with my life, happy with my life. And the determination I got to learn to walk again, Pat, was from somewhere special because I had no fear. The determination I had. I learned how to walk, chew, drink. They were giving me a wee clipboard to write stuff on because I couldn't speak. I was on a ventilator for so long. My chest was holding me back. And my Uncle Hugh said to me, whenever you get out, you're going to go to 162. And I says, yes, yeah, I'm going to go to 162, Hugh, because everything he's just done for me. So I got moved out of intensive care after 6 months in intensive care. I got moved up onto a ward. I was up there for 4 hours, 6 hours, whenever my wife came up with another man and says, "Maurice, he's up to speak, tell you." And he says, "I'm a police officer. Just want to inform you, Mr. Kane, your young son was knocked down there last night. He's in the Royal Victoria Hospital. He's in intensive care." He was actually in my old bed at the Royal Victoria Hospital. He was in a induced coma as well. So I was in one ICU, he was in the other. He was in for 6 weeks, he had internal bleeding, bruised liver. He was knocked down on the Hollywood carriageway. He was only identified by UTV Live with his Rangers ring that he had on his finger. So as soon as I was told that, I told the nurse that I found it hard to breathe. The nurse came up, got the doctors, 4 doctors around me, says, Maurice, you're going back down to intensive care. So I lost in that ward something like 6 hours. I got moved back down to intensive care, where they brought the portable x-ray machine in. I knew the whole x-ray department because of how long I was there for. I was like a film star up in the hospital. Everyone knew me, the cleaners knew me. Everybody knew me because I was there for that long. And the relationship I built up with nurses was like a family to me. When I actually got told I was going home, I was scared to go home because I felt at home in hospital with the nurses and doctors. Them ones that had actually became my family. I was hospitalised, and from that, they just kept coming to me, telling me I had 1 superbug, had 2 superbugs, got 3 superbugs. At the end of the day, I got 4 superbugs coming to the hospital, and they just kept coming to me. And there was one time where I got my scar was from getting my pancreas removed, and I started to swell. It was like a size of a Jack orange, about that thick, coming out of my stomach. And the nurse got the doctor, and the doctor says I was being taken for an MRI the next day. And as I was talking to the nurse, you heard like a water sound, which was pus and blood just popped out of my side, just burst like a water balloon. I started popping out of the bed. The nurse was in shock. She went and got the doctors. And my Uncle Hugh came up the next day. Hadn't seen him in 2 days. And he came up the next day and says, I was talking to Billy and Nell about you. And Nell says, you have to pray more. You've got a spear, a black spear in your side. And I said to him, that's funny because when I put my top up, my Uncle Hugh seen my stomach and he says, oh my God. He was like, wow. You know, he couldn't believe what Nell had told him about my side and what happened to my side. And from that day onwards, I've just had a new lease of life. Nothing's held me back. I learned myself to walk up the stairs. Physio didn't learn me to walk up the stairs. I learned myself. Just had this determination in me from day one and lost all fear. So there was somebody there with me at all times. I felt secure. So I was definitely the help of Jesus, like 100%. I was in that place I never thought I was getting home. Didn't know what was wrong with me. Couldn't even speak. Had like a big tube coming out of my throat and hair. All the machines behind me. Week by week that machine was being taken away. This was being taken away. Then I didn't find out until the 6 months was up with a nerve damage in both feet. Type 2 diabetes. So I came out with like I would say 2.5 yellow pages thick as a medical file. I came out like Superman, so that the doctors just couldn't believe. That time I was given it 2 hours. The doctor came in, just shook his head at me and says, Maurice, this is completely unexplainable. And Uncle Hugh, he was gloating, so he was. But the medical staff at the hospital just couldn't fathom that I was still there the next morning because my organs had failed. Kidneys weren't washing my blood, I was on dialysis, on everything. And I came out of that place, I do not know. All my hair fell out of my head. No one told me that my hair fell out of my head. And even to pick a cup of tea up, I had no strength in my arm because I was just lying like that for 6 months in the same position. But I came out of that hospital a stronger and better person than before I went in that hospital.
I think it's the most wonderful story, Maurice.
Yeah.
I really do. Hugh is one of our prayer team.
Yep.
And he is a saint.
Yep.
And he doesn't give up.
No.
And he wasn't prepared to give up on you either.
No.
But neither is Jesus.
I know that about Jesus, Pat. I if anyone knows it's me, I never thought I was getting out of there. And where I got the bravery from, the determination, I do not know, because I was like, anyone else would have broke. Whenever I got out of hospital, my family didn't tell me. My wife was having an affair whenever I was in hospital, so her and her partner went round to the house and stole all my furniture, everything he owned. Lost everything he owned, and when I got out of hospital, I got out, went and gone to my own house, stayed with my wife and kids. Had to go around and stay at my mother's house, so I lived with my mother for 2 years. But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
You had a complete new start in life.
A complete new start, a brilliant start in life, yeah.
Yes. I do know from what Hugh said that when you went to leave hospital, you wanted to go and say goodbye to the doctors and nurses in the intensive care.
Yep.
And they were so delighted. One of the doctors even carried your case to
He
the car
carried it to my Uncle Hugh's car, yeah.
Yeah.
He warned me, Maurice, no more smoking, no more drinking. Here's me right, no problem, doctor. Jumped in my Uncle Hugh's car and that was me away. As soon as I got home to my mother's house, had to go up to the hospital to get my wee kidney bar removed. Went up to get that removed. I was in the city for the 12th of July, the 13th of July. Doctor came in, I was meant to go to surgery to get the bar removed. The doctor came in, pulled the bar out of my back, which was a pain, unbearable pain. So 2 days after that, I wasn't feeling right. It was my birthday, 17th of July. I ended up going to Dundonald Hospital, where I was told it's sepsis again. That was the 5th time for sepsis, and I was being kept in. I was in there for another 4 weeks. My kidney was operated on twice. The kidney stones removed as well, and lasered. But since that day, like, I just haven't let them hold me back. But there was someone, which I believe was God, someone there, 100%, definitely. Because that hospital, it was so grim. There wasn't a mirror, there wasn't a window. I didn't see daylight. I used to look at people's coats to see if it was raining outside or what sort of coat they were wearing to see what the weather was like outside. And then when they were taking me out of intensive care, they pushed me in the lift, and voila, there was a mirror on the lift thing. There's me, I have no hair. And my nephew, he was up 2 weeks before it, and I told him to cut my hair, and he was looking at me very strange. And I could see hair falling off my head, so I thought he was cutting. I told him, make sure you don't mess my fringe up. And just none of my family told me I didn't have a hair in my head. All my hair fell out because I wasn't getting any food. I had 2 sets of nails in each finger because I was protein deficient. But from that day onwards, I've just smiled every day I wake up. I'm just happy to be here. But there was something that came into my life, and I was to do with God, like.
It's a wonderful story. It reminds me of the words in Isaiah, the prophecy that he will set the captives free.
Yeah.
And you have certainly been set free.
Oh, yeah.
And given a whole new start in life.
Yep. God made everything that was wrong, everything fine. They just kept coming and telling me this was wrong, that's wrong. And I still hadn't told you half the stuff was wrong because there's that much. And here's me, I'm never coming back to myself, I'll never be walking again. They had me in a Zimmer frame. And out in my mother's hall, she lived in a wee ground floor flat. There's a wee second floor flat above the concrete stairs with the 2 rail grips. And out, and I grabbed on them and learned myself to walk up the stairs. And walk back down the stairs and go for walks around the block. And before it happened to me, my dad, he died on the 6th of July. It happened to me on the 10th of October. And then a few months after me, it was my young son, Curtis. He was 16 when he was knocked down. It was the 31st of December. From that day onwards, he's the same too. 2 of us haven't looked back. Just happy to be alive every day. And we know who it's all that down to, you know.
Well, that's a wonderful story. And it's just an amazing testimony. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.